Hey, Mark here. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create written content from a YouTube video. So in this case, we're going to be creating a blog, but it could be a whole number of different things. So you could be creating social media for a blog that you've just created, the key points from a video that someone else has created. Or if it's a travel vlog, you could be creating a travel guide. Or if it's a food vlog, you could be creating a recipe. The opportunities for this one are endless, so I'm really looking forward to showing it to you. So let's dive in. So let me take you through the basics of how this automation works, and then we'll go ahead and build it together. The way that we kick off this automation is that we use Airtable. We want to just paste in the URL of the video that we want to create a blog for, and it'll just then kick off the automation and return the results here back into Airtable. What we're going to do is we're going to watch Table for any changes in the records. And look out for when there's a new URL that's been added to the database. We're going to go ahead and use a module called Apify, or an application called Apify, that just pulls the transcript down from any YouTube video. So I'll show you how to use that and how to set that up. We then wanted to sit around and have a sleep for a while. So the reason we had a sleep is because there's no way of grabbing the results in a different way. We have to go and get them later when that job has been completed. That job takes about 30, 35 seconds or so. So we just need to wait for a little while for that job to be completed, and then we can go and grab that transcript of Apify. Once we've grabbed it out of Apify, we can then go and put transcript into ChatGPT and then transform it into whatever we want it to be. So in this case, we're going to create a blog from this transcript. I'm messaging an assistant, so I've created a custom bespoke assistant that takes YouTube videos and turns them into a blog. That's what we're going to do today. So let's get started. So we're going to start over here in Airtable, because this is going to be the trigger that kicks off and starts our automation. So we need to go ahead and create that first. Go into Airtable and you just want to create a new database. So they're called bases in Airtable. So you click create. I'm going to start from scratch. There's a number of columns that we want to create. So we'll just change this one to something else that we want. So we're going to call this one ID. This is just a unique identifier for all the records. So this first column here is the unique identifier for the records. They have it defaulted to name. We're just going to have it as ID, which is going to be an auto number. Click save. So every time we add a new record, a new number will be added on to that record, which gives us a unique identifier for each record. Okay, so we've got this one called notes. So we can go ahead and just edit this one. We'll make it short text or single line of text, and we're going to call this the URL. So this is the URL of the video, the YouTube video. We're going to, let's get rid of, we can just change it. Okay, so in here, we're going to create one called status, and this is going to be a multi-select. So in here, we want to create a number of different statuses for the stage the videos are at. So we're going to have the first one, which is queued, which is really important, and that's going to be our default. The reason that's important is that, when we're watching which records have been updated from Make, we need to say that you're only interested in the ones that are new and added to the bottom of the database here. So only pick up the ones that are queued. As is the case for any of the watch modules in make.com, any change to a record will be a trigger. So we only want it to trigger and fire the automation when it's a new job. So the queued one's really important for us. So we're going to have queued. Another status we have is like creating transcripts. So this is when we send it to Apify to go and create that transcript for us, pull it out from the YouTube video. We're going to have writing blog. So when the YouTube video has been pulled down and we sent it to ChatGPT, we're going to be writing the blog. There's two uses for this. One, Make knows the stage that we're at any point in time, but also just so the user knows, because this process is going to take 1 to 2 minutes. So if the user's sitting there and waiting for the output, then we're just giving them some updates along the way to let them know that things are happening, things are moving. So yeah, this is why we use the statuses. They're not essential, but apart from the queued and probably started and done maybe, but this just gives us a little bit more feedback, and it's optional really. So we need done, and then also another one, fails. So what if we just can't process that video for any reason? And one of those reasons might be that you can turn off transcripts on YouTube videos if you want to. So some people don't have transcripts on the videos. 99% of videos will, but not all do. So there's no transcript to get pulled and scraped out, and then Apify won't be able to do that, and the process will fail. So we need a failed option in there as well. So done is green, that's good, all those colors are just fine. And we're going to set the default option to queued. Whoops, I've already got a field called status here, which we could have used. So I'm just going to change this so that I can go ahead and just delete this one, and I'll rename our field to status. Right, we don't need this one. That would have been easier just to use that one, and we can just call this one status now. Okay, so we've got status. We need a field. This is optional again, but it's good, I think, just for debugging purposes, but also for just to store it in there and be able to, maybe we can use it again in the future or to run again. But just having the transcript, like this is the raw transcript that Apify creates. We're going to add that to the database as well. So we need to make that long text, create field, and we're going to have one for blog text. So this is also long text. So blog text. So this is our finished blog. Once we get to the end of the process, we're going to store that in here. I'm going to enable rich text formatting because we want the blog to have headers, for it to be able to have things like bolding and H1s and H2s. If we don't enable this, it will all just be single-sized text. But we won't have that, so we can easily just copy and paste it into WordPress. Or you can set up another automation to automatically upload it to WordPress as well, as we've seen in some of the previous videos that I've created. So create the field, and last but not least is going to be one called last modified. Now the make module for Airtable needs this field, and this is the way that it works out that there's been a change in the database. So every time you change a record, this last modified field automatically updates, and that is how Make or Airtable knows that that field is updated and therefore to trigger the automation. We need to have a last modified field, and we can put that to last modified time. Okay, let's do create. Okay, so that's our database set up now. So now we need to start looking at automation and how we're going to trigger that. So what we're going to do is we want to be able to add in a URL into here, and for that to be enough to trigger our automation and for it to start the process of changing our transcript into a blog. So let's go ahead and do that. So in Make here, I'm just going to go create new scenario. So before we get started here, actually, I'm just going to go and rename our database. So we're going to call our database YouTube to blog. This is just going to help us identify it in the next step. So in here, we're going to select Airtable, watch records, is the module we're looking for. Let's go ahead and add a new connection. It's going to be an OAuth connection. Click Save. This dialog will pop up here, and this is what we named it because we want to go ahead and select our base. So this is YouTube to blog. So I'm going to grant access. There you go. So now we can go ahead and select our base. Select our table, which is just table 1. Now the trigger field is the last modified field. So this is where I said you need to have a last modified field in the database. You can have a created or last modified. So you can choose whichever makes sense to you. Last modified is just fine in this case. And then here is the label field. So this field should just be able to help identify that individual field. Now really it doesn't really matter for us because it's not something that's going to surface in our automation that we're going to use. It's more for Airtable if you're working in Airtable, but really we just want something to be that's going to be unique for each of those fields. So for us, I mean, the ID is going to be unique, but so is the URL. So I'm just going to pick the URL in this case and then click OK. Okay, so we're just going to select from now on then. So we just want this to watch the records from now on. So this is just a trigger that will just sit here and run and wait for any changes in the records. So this isn't a webhook that just sits there and waits to receive new data. Unfortunately, that would be the ideal situation for us. When we update the Airtable record, that immediately starts off our automation. Fortunately, the Airtable module doesn't allow for that. What it does allow for is scheduling. So we can schedule this to run every however many intervals we want. So we can set it to run every 1 minute. Of course, that will use a lot of operations, depending on how urgent these tasks are to run. You can set at different times, or you can just set it to run on demand. So you can just run it, come in here and run it whenever you want. So that's something for you to decide. But yeah, unfortunately there is no webhook functionality in this case. So what we'll do is I've already just run this through here and it knows what the state of the database is. So now if I go ahead and add a row in here, so I'm just going to take this one, which is James May reviewing the Cybertruck. So I'll just put that in there. And if we go ahead and run our automation now, it's noticed that there's an update in here and it's got our URL, which is what we want. So this module is now working. So if we just go back to our Airtable real quick here, what you'll notice is that the status wasn't automatically set to queued as we'd specified there. That's because this record already existed. These first 3 records already exist. So if I just go and delete these and then create a new one underneath, you'll notice that the default is set to queued. So that's exactly the functionality that we want. So now we can go into here and we can go ahead and set the new status, because the automation is now run. It's no longer queued, it's in progress. So we go to Airtable, we go update a record, and choose the account, which unfortunately I didn't rename it to something more sensible, but it's called My Airtable OAuth Connection here. I recommend you name it something a bit more sensible. Okay, so we just need to go and grant access to that base again. So just scroll down to the bottom here, YouTube to blog, grant access. So the base is YouTube to blog, table 1. And the record we're going to update is the status. I can go ahead and add this. You turn off this button here so we can just map it directly, and then you get a drop down with all the different statuses. So we can say, it's actually going to just miss this step out now, but let's just go ahead and add it in as well. So this one, because this one's quite quick, it almost happens so fast we don't need it, but we'll have one called starting job as well. So in here, we're going to update this. So I just need to refresh this here. And we're going to go ahead and make this starting job. And the record ID is the one from the previous module, which is ID here. There's 2 IDs. There's a numeric ID and a textual ID. You want to use this textual one here. Click OK. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and use Apify in our next step. Apify. We're going to do run an actor. So let's go ahead and take a look in Apify and see what we need to do to set up our actor. So this is Apify. You go to apify.com to go ahead and create an account. It's free to create an account, but then you'll build based on what's called actors that you use. So if I go ahead over to the store, there's a whole number of different scrapers you can go and make use of. So in this case, we want to use a YouTube transcript scraper. So if I type in YouTube transcripts, do show results here. You can see the options. There's a bunch of different scrapers here. I've taken a look at all of them, and the one I've sort of plumped for is this one, because the pricing model just works out more in favor of what I want to do. There's this one here, for example, and you can see the prices here. So it's $20 a month plus the usage fees. But if I go back to this one, it's $10 for 1,000 results. So it's not a monthly fee, it's just pay as you go. But it's so cheap to use these actors generally. Actually, to do grab one transcript, it costs 1 cent. So you can see I've been using this aggressively for quite a while now, and I only used 80 cents out of you get $5 for free when you sign up. So I've been using this aggressively and nowhere near the $5 yet. So this one's good because it's like pay as you go and it lasts ages. Let me show you how you use this. So once you go into the YouTube Transcript Ninja here, what you can do is you can go and test it out live here on the application. So when you first log in, it'll be this, and you go ahead and go add URLs. So I can go in there and add in my James May URL there again and click start. And what you can see is this is just the process of it happening in real time. So you can see the duration ticking on here. It'll generally take just shy of 30 seconds to pull out the transcript and get the end result. So we'll just wait for that to happen. Okay, so that's finished now. So you can see it took 26 seconds to run. And if we go over to this output tab here, we can see the output that it created. So this is the transcript it created from the video that we asked it to look at. So that's worked. That's all done exactly how we'd want to do it. But now we want to call this actor from Make, not just be running it in the website here. So the way we need to do this is we go ahead and look at the input here. So this is the JSON input the actor needed in order to be able to start the URL. So we're going to need this to apply to our Make module. So we're going to use this JSON here. So we can just go ahead and copy and paste this out. You can click this button here to copy it. Let's go over to Apify, and then we can select the actor that we want. So it's this one here, Topaz Sharanigan and then YouTube transcript scraper 1. So we go into there. The way that you can tell which one it is if we go back to our list of our actors here, we can go and take a look here, and you can just copy and paste this if you wanted to, but that's how we know we've got the right actor. Run synchronously, no, and then the input JSON, we can just paste the thing that we've used, but in here, instead of fixed URL, we want to add in the URL that we added into our Airtable. So I can go ahead and click URL there, and then we can just click OK there. Okay, so let's just go ahead and check that that's all working as we'd expect. So let's go back to Airtable here, we'll add a new record, and then we'll just click paste the URL into there. If I now run this, it notifies that there's an update. It's gone ahead and run the actor. In fact, there's 2 updates because I put 2 into there. So if we go over to our Transcript Ninja now, you can see that we've got it's running. So that's good. That means that our YouTube video or YouTube URL has been sent to Transcript Ninja, and it's now running and pulling out the transcript. So that's good. That's where we need to be right now. So the next step is we just need to go and wait for that process to finish, which, as we saw, took around 30 seconds or so. So we need to add in the sleep module here. In the sleep module, we can delay for as long as we need, but we're going to delay for 45 seconds, or we can delay up to 300 seconds in this module. I'm going to put 45 just so it gives a little bit longer time, just in case things take a little bit longer. We can guard against that not happening as well. I'll show you in the next step. So maybe we put 45 seconds, but what if it's not ready? What if it took a minute this time because things were just a little bit slower for reasons out of our control? Then we can just guard against that as well. So I'm going to say Apify. Then I'm going to say get dataset items. And the dataset ID is this one from the previous actor. So we can go ahead. So what we're doing here actually is, we run the act in the background, the act is finished. Now it's finished, we want to go ahead and grab the transcript out of there. So we click ID, and that's all we need to change. And so we just go ahead and click OK. And as I mentioned, to guard against that delay being longer than we expected, we can add a error handle in here. So I don't generally show error handlers in these videos because it's not applicable to the core functionality, but really anytime that you're calling out a third-party service, you want to have a chance for it to retry if it fails. And this is what you can do with the break module. So you can say, well, how many times do I want to try again? So you can just set that to 3. In this case, I'll just try it every 1 minute because really it should be taking less than a minute. So there's a bigger problem that we've got if it's taking more than that. So we can click OK here. That will try again 3 times 1 minute apart. If it's not worked after that, then we've got a bigger problem, which we can take a look at in a second. So in the next step, I'm going to add a router. There's 2 steps, 2 filters that we want to create here. So 1, did we get the transcript? And if so, we're going to use ChatGPT to go ahead and write our blog. If we didn't get the transcript, i.e. it failed for some other reason, then we just need to notify the user that, okay, we couldn't get the transcript. Maybe there, like I said before, maybe there is no transcript on that video. We just need to notify the user that just failed at some points. So here in this box, we can go ahead and say, transcript successful, and the condition is transcript. In fact, we just need to go ahead and run this module through 1 time so that we've got the fields that we can work with. So we just unlink that. It's a good chance for us to check that actually we get the transcript out at the end of this as well. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is start our job again here. Click run once. Of course, and if you use this break module, then you need to make sure that you've enabled a setting at the scenario level, which is this one, allow storing of incomplete executions. So you need to go ahead and make that a yes, which is a good idea to do any of your automations anyway, because then you can go ahead and if any tasks fail, then you can go ahead and look at them and then finish those runs if you want to. So just set that setting there, click run again. Okay, so we're just sleeping here now, waiting. Let's just check our act is running. It is. So we're just going to wait 45 seconds here. So I will resume once that's complete. Okay, if I look over at the actor, I can see that that's succeeded now. So if I come back to our automation, we allowed plenty of time for the actor to complete its job. And take a look here. We've got an error. Let's try and fix this one. Actually, so I've used the wrong field in here. A field that I should have used. So I'm just going to stop this now because it's actually going into this break scenario. And it's trying again because it failed, which is what we wanted to do, but not in this case because I've just used the wrong option here. So this should be one called dataset Yeah, so it's this one, default dataset ID. So the ID up there is not the correct one, it's this one, default dataset ID. So let's go ahead and give that a try another time. Another record here. Go. As you can see, this one has worked, I think, this time. Into the transcript. So that's the transcript that's got pulled out of the video. Perfect. So now we can go back into this module. We can now go ahead and set up this filter like we wanted to. So this was transcript successful. And here we can say if transcript does not equal an empty string. Basically, we've got a transcript. If the transcript is an empty string, which means there is no transcript, so we want to create a new filter here. We've got this one's called transcript failed. The condition is transcript is equal to an empty string. Click OK. So now in this case, we're going to go ahead and update the Airtable database just to let us know the status, depending on which way that we went. So if we went this way, then we're going to say, okay, we're going to update our records. The base is YouTube to blog, table 1, record ID is back down here, and we're going to update the, we're going to actually add in the transcript that was created. We had a field for that in the database, and also we want to add a status. Again, turn off this mapping option here, and we can say we're moving on to the writing blog status. So that's all good. Click OK. And then here, if it failed, we want to go to Airtable, update a record, basis YouTube to blog, table 1, record ID down the bottom here. And then the status we're going to set to failed. Okay, so let's test out both of those routes now. What we'll do is, so that we can test it properly, we won't actually retry. So if it fails, it fails. We can test that out. Okay, so let's go into YouTube, into Airtable again here. I'm going to go and copy this one out. It's queued. Go ahead and run that, and there you go, it's done. It's actually gone down this route here because the transcript was not equal to an empty string. So it's gone up to here and it's updated the Airtable record. So if we pop over into Airtable now, you can see the status has changed to writing blog. So again, it's because there was more than one in here. It's gone ahead and updated the first one that we did. So that's worked, but let's change this time to say 1 second. We know that it's going to fail at that point because it's going to be no transcript, so we can go ahead and test this route here. This is one that we can wait for. So if we go to here, we go to update that. Right, 1 second. Whoa, way too quick. So if we go into our Airtable, you can see that that has failed right there. Ready for next time, as soon as I just clicked it. Okay, let's go ahead and add this error handler back. So now, in this success route, we're going to ask ChatGPT to go ahead and create our blog. So, ChatGPT. In this case, we're going to do message an assistant because I've created an assistant specifically for this. So I'm not going to go over the exact details of the assistant I've created. You can go ahead and create assistants in OpenAI here. So it's platform.openai/assistants, and you've got a whole bunch of assistants I've created here. So here's the YouTube Assistant V2 that I've created. So I went through a couple of iterations, but that's what we're going to use as our assistant. So you can go ahead and create these. If you haven't created one before, you just go ahead and click create in here. You then provide the instructions in there, choose the model, click save, and then you can go ahead and select it and make. If you did want access to that assistant and all of the details, you can go ahead and get it by joining our school community. In our school community, you can download all of these automations, so you don't have to build them yourselves. Also all of the assistants that are created. And if you want those, then go ahead and check the description for our school community. In here, I'm going to go to YouTube Blog Creation Assistant V2. The role is user, and in the message, I'm just going to say this is this is the transcript, because the assistant knows to be expecting a transcript, so they don't need to provide it any more details. I just need to provide it the transcript. So the transcript's disappeared now because we went down a failed route. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a successful route again. Oh, we already had one actually. Let's delete this one. So I'm just going to need to disconnect this and run it through. I'm not going to make you wait for this. Need to change this back to 45 seconds, of course. Going here and run. Okay, so that's been successful. We have our transcripts again at the other end. So now that we've set a successful run, we can go ahead and add this into here. Actually, what's happening there is I had to click stop, and it's because we've not created a really important filter in here, which is to check that that it's actually a queued job. Because I said to you before, like every time you update Airtable, then that signifies kicking off the automation, because we're just watching for any changes. So when adding the transcript in here to the field, or even just updating this status, it's saying, oh, there's been an update, so let me run that automation again for you, and run that automation again for you. So we don't want that to happen. We need to make sure that only happens when we've added in a new job. So really it's when the change includes the fact that the status field is queued. So I'm just going to delete this one now. I'll delete this one here as well, just so we've got like a little fresh. So we need to add in a filter here. Is this a new job? And the condition is status, which for some reason is an array. I think it's because we've set this field up wrong here. So in here, we want not multi-select, it's single select. Sorry, that was my mistake at the start there. So let's, yes, convert. Because it's only going to ever be in one state at a time. It's not going to be in multiple different states. So it's not a multi-select, it's a single select that we wanted there. So let me just go ahead and run that again so that it picks that up. Okay, and then we'll, connect these two back together, set up a filter. Is this a new job? And the condition. So that's still an array. I notice this happens sometimes. The way you can just kick it back into action is you can just refresh the fields here. Then that's enough often to just make the trigger work again. Let's just check. There you go. So status is no longer an array. So let's try again. Is this a new job? And then if we say status is equal to queued. So now this is only going to pick up the new jobs, which are the ones that start off as queued when we add the new record. Okay, with that updated, let's just go back to ChatGPT here. So we didn't save that, so we're just going to put the details back in here. Okay, and then transcript. Transcript. That's it, nothing else needs to change. We'll click OK. And last but not least, we just need to update Airtable to say that has been complete and add that finished blog to Airtable. So I'm going to update a record again. Our base is YouTube to blog. Table is table 1. Record ID. Go right back down again here. Status is checkbox. Done. And then the blog text is going to be the app from ChatGPT, and that's that. Okay, and that should be our complete automation. So let's run that through and check that's working. Okay, go ahead and add a new record here again. Looks like we've lost the default option in here, so let's go and put that back in. So save. Let's delete this record. Yeah. Okay, let's run it through. Okay, so it hasn't worked out. What's wrong? Oh, pass value fulfilled. I wonder if this is because we messed up the status field, didn't we? So if I go ahead and refresh again here, hopefully that'll be okay. Now it might actually be the same for with other modules, although now that I've refreshed it in one, it might be okay across the board. So let's try again. Okay, let's delete this one and run. Okay, that looked like it was the problem. Just because we updated that field from a multi-select to a single select, so the data type had changed and this module wasn't updated to reflect that. So we'll come back when this is done. Okay, so it's got through all of this down the success route. It's updated the table as well to say it's writing the blog, and now it's saying that it's done. So let's go into here, let's take a look at the contents. And there's a blog. So if we go back into Airtable, take a look here, you can see the complete blog. So this is the analysis output from the James May video. Analysis of the Cybertruck, introduction, design overview, concept and construction, steer-by-wire technology, practical considerations, interior features, load capacity, usability observations, personal impressions, and then a summary at the end. So that is our blog that we can just go ahead and copy out, or as I say, you can then add another automation, which maybe you mark as success or mark that you've approved this, so you're happy with this, because you can go ahead and edit these if you want to. But then once it's approved, you can submit that to your WordPress site if you want to. So that's the automation. I'm just going to check that these fields are updating along the way, because I'm sure that that didn't look like it was updating. So no, it didn't on that one, did it? So let's just go to change this to, need to map this to writing blog. Don't know why that did not work. I'm sure we see there. Let me just check that this one's still working. I think it's not because of that field change that we made again. So let's change this to failed. If it fails, this one should be working okay, because we only just added that one. So that's now the complete solution. Let's just check that one more last time then, and I won't make you wait. There we go. We move back over to Airtable. You see it's now, the status is now starting job. So that's good feedback for our user. Okay, so now it's completed the transcript. It's just writing the blog. We go back to the status here. It says writing blog, which is just what's happening here. So ChatGPT is writing the blog. So again, good feedback for our user. We're just waiting here for ChatGPT to finish, and there it has. Let's mark that as done. And here you go. Here's our different version of the blog that we created. So I guess what we haven't done is just test that filter that works as expected. So what we do is go and add in a new job here. Let's not mark it as queued though, let's mark it as creating transcript. We'll go ahead and run that. We'd expect this to not get past the filter now. And it hasn't, which is great. So you see status is created transcript here, and we're actually waiting for it to say queued, which it hasn't. So that concludes today's video on how to create written content from any YouTube video. So in this case, we were creating a blog, but this could be that you're creating social media for the video that you've just created, or social media for a video you want to pull out some of the salient points. The options are endless and way beyond what I could imagine the different uses for, and maybe you've got some that will come to mind for you using Apify. If you liked this automation in this video, make sure you like and subscribe, but also check out our school community in the description, where you can go ahead and download any of these automations and upload them into your own Make account, and you don't have to build them yourself. All of the assistants and that are available there too. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.